Welcome to Sports Management Podcast, where you will hear interesting sports management professionals share their stories, experiences, and passion for the sports management industry. I am your host, Marcus Philipsson. Today's guest is Sara Diaz, the VP of Recruiting at Capstone Hospitality, a role she recently took on. You'll notice Sara is full of energy and she has used her positive attitude to accelerate her career. She has been named Sports Business Journal 30 Under 30, worked for the PGA Tour, been the agent for her younger sister, and Sara was also a professional golfer, just like her younger sister. Get ready to learn about Sara's role at Capstone, how it was like working for the PGA Tour, why she decided to be an agent for her sister and support her golf career, what benefits golf can give you, and much more. Sara Diaz, welcome to Sports Management Podcast.
Marcus, thank you so much. I'm very excited that we finally get to chat. It's been a while. We've been trying to get together for a while now, huh?
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's so great we finally made the time to talk. So, first of all, how are you?
I'm well. I'm in Jacksonville, Florida. Recently, I've had a lot of changes in my life, but they've all been very positive. And I know that we're going to talk about one of them, which is, the change in jobs. But I'm doing really well. How are you?
I'm glad to hear. I'm doing well also, not in the same temperatures as you are, I assume. Sweden is a cold summer in Sweden so far.
And now, Marcus, we are hiding from the sun. You get a good tan here about like March, April, and then the rest of the summer, you're hoping not to fry out on the beach.
Yeah. Here we say that summer is the best day of the year, we usually joke. So, you mentioned that you recently changed jobs. So your current role is that you are the Vice President of Recruiting at Capstone Hospitality.
That's right.
So, what does that role include?
It means leading and executing Capstone's recruiting efforts and the company branding surrounding acquisition of top-level talent. So basically, I'm in charge of expanding the team. I'm in charge of implementing the strategies to hopefully attract, hire, and retain sales professionals at Capstone.
And is that for the sports industry exclusively, or is that for other sectors as well?
Yeah, so Capstone Hospitality, we are a sales and membership firm. So our expertise is membership sales for private clubs, so golf, but we also do boat clubs. But what happens is clubs hire us because they have a challenge in membership sales. So they hire us to come in. We go in and assess the club. We conduct a market analysis. And then we hire somebody, we train them on our lead generation tactics, strategies that they can implement. And then they go in and we place them at our client club, and their sole focus is to sell memberships.
I know that you're new on the position, but do you know how it's been for the company now the last few years with the hospitality industry obviously has taken a hit from COVID and travel has been less and so forth?
Yeah, you're right. I've only been in Capstone for a little bit, but actually what we saw, and it was, very similar to the PGA Tour, because when I was with them, at the beginning, yes, it was very scary. Everything shut down, right? Marketing plans go to the trash. There was no golf on TV. But then, what we saw was a boom. And that's what, talking to my teammates here at Capstone Hospitality, it's what they experienced as well, because golf was a leisure activity that people could do safely. So we saw an increase in participation. When it came to the PGA Tour, we saw that more people now, more than ever, were trying golf for the first time. There was a lot of people at the golf clubs, at the golf ranges. People were watching, and when golf returned to TV, people were watching more because now they were participating in the sport.
Yeah, that's very interesting. On the Nordic countries, there was the sport of paddle was booming as well, because that was the only one that was allowed. So I assume that's similar one for golf.
Exactly, which is great. Everybody needs to go out there and try it out.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you mentioned the PGA Tour, which was your previous employer where you were for a couple of years. So what were you doing there?
Yes, for a few years, actually. So I was a marketing manager. I was initially hired to lead the multicultural efforts at the tour to diversify the PGA Tour. We needed to make our sport cooler. We needed to be reaching wider audiences. So my job, similar to now in recruiting, was to recruit people to try to join the sport. So the people that had never considered golf before, we wanted to reach them and to convince them to try the sport, which was quite frankly really easy for me because I started with the First Tee program, a golf program that gave me so many different opportunities. It was wonderful experiences, Marcus. I've met people that I would have never met through the sport of golf. I had so many different opportunities when it came to, being offered jobs on the golf course. And then, before joining the workforce, I was able to go to college with a golf scholarship. So being that I was bilingual and golf was early on in my life, it was a job that I thoroughly enjoyed. And then the last few years, I worked in several other campaigns, industry-wide campaigns, and I had also other accounts that weren't necessarily tied to multicultural, but anything from content production, programmatic, social spend. And then it was talent for kind of like a part-time job, part-time project too.
That's awesome. I work with ice hockey, as I told you before, and I feel like it's a little bit similar culture to golf. It's usually seen as an upper class sport. It is expensive. How did you work there to diversify or the multicultural aspect? So what were some of the initiatives that you took?
Well, I think first of all was understanding what were some of the barriers and the misconceptions of the sport, right? You're right. It has been traditionally that. But what I would tell people, especially when it came to the point of it's a very expensive sport, I would, try to tell them or explain to them that it was almost like purchasing a car. Yes, you can purchase the very expensive cars, the Mercedes, the BMWs. You can have very luxurious cars, but there's also some very affordable cars that are very reliable, right? So you don't need to go and buy a membership. You don't need, although in my new job, of course, I want you to buy a membership, but you know what I mean? Like if you are someone who is starting out, you could go to the range and purchase a bucket of balls for $10. You could borrow clubs. You could go to Goodwill. Goodwill is the store here that people donate things to, and purchase golf clubs there. So you don't need to have the top tier equipment to just even begin, because the thing is, the sport of golf, what I've seen is that it gives you benefits that last, for a lifetime in terms of the job opportunities that you could possibly obtain from just meeting somebody at the golf course to paying for your education and meeting people that you would have never met otherwise. Going back to your original question, it was about addressing those misconceptions in a way that they would see it. So it was about creating content that would explain those misconceptions. Another one that we did, I'm thinking of a video that we produced up in New York at the Northern Trust, was that and everybody needs to be quiet when you watch a golf tournament or when you're at a golf tournament. So what we did was we brought this fan club of a soccer team and we asked them to join us and to cheer on. And funny enough, like Tiger was passing by when they were there and they started singing Eye of the Tiger. And Tiger turned around and he had a golf ball in his hand and he threw it at the team and they caught it. And it was so much fun. So it was about that. It was about the misconceptions. It was about inviting everybody. That was a big one too, because a lot of people felt like they weren't allowed to go to a golf tournament, or they didn't know what to wear, or because they didn't know anything about the sport, that they didn't know that they could go. Kids 15 and under can almost go to all of the tournaments, almost all of them, for free. And people didn't know that. And because I spoke Spanish, I was able to get that message across in various news outlets and radio and TV. So that's how we worked the multicultural program.
Speaking of Tiger, he must also have had an important role, I mean, in this diversifying the sport for him to be such a big role model and coming from a different background than maybe the average golf player.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think, I'm very lucky that I grew up in this era. I mean, he is just iconic, right? And there's no greater way to motivate people to join the sport than having a role model, right? And we have that with our Latin players too, because I work with them a lot too. And that just gives hope to people and excitement. And I don't even have the words to describe him right now, but he's a phenomenon that certainly moved everybody in the US, from all races, from all ages.
Yeah. I feel like I go in reverse chronological order here, but you have also been an agent for your sister, Elsa, when she launched her golf career.
That's right. So Elsa is my younger sister, and she is great. She is a firecracker. She's got discipline. She's got grit and drive. And, when she finished her college career, she also played for the University of Richmond. She approached me and, I knew that she wanted to go pro, but she said, hey, I really need you to be by my side and help me with this. And so at the time I had a full-time job, but, we wanted to do the sister duo thing and conquer the world. And so there was a couple of agents in town who were willing to help her and represent her. But like I said, we wanted to work together. So I put a plan together, Marcus. I put a plan of how we were going to tackle this, how, what our budget needed to be, what it looked like. And, there's still, I think, a lot of confusion when it comes to how do you turn professional in golf, right? And there's various ways to do it. So we were trying to navigate that. And I remember I had the opportunity to talk to Usain Bolt's marketing agent. Somebody made an intro for me and I had her on the phone for about 20 minutes and I let her know, hey, this is my plan, right? My sister's career is in my hands. This is what I'm going to do. Do you think I can do it alone, or do I really need like another agent to back her up? And she said, no, absolutely. Try it, try it for a year, see if you can get anything. And then if not, you can get some more help. So I did. And I was able to obtain a sponsorship for Elsa and get her a Lexus deal. And then we were also able to get her a sponsor's exemption into the LPGA Kingsmill, which was her debut tournament as a professional.
Wow, that's impressive.
It was so much fun. It was very fun.
I'm sure. And at this time, like, what type of management experience did you have? Or was this just something, that you took and ran with, more or less?
Well, I had some experience in fundraising for the first tee, and I knew Bruce Bowen. He won 3 NBA championships for the San Antonio Spurs. He's very close to our family, and I had talked to him and his agent. So I knew a little bit, Marcus, but quite frankly, it was about going out there and marketing my sister. And I knew her so well. She's, if you meet her, she's so easy to market. She's got a great personality. She's beautiful and she's talented. So it was about like 6 or 8 months of just knocking on people's doors and letting them know what else I could do for them, how she could represent their brand, throwing her fundraising parties and talking to everybody in town about what we were trying to do and what our dreams were. So like I said, I had some experience bringing Bruce to a couple of speaking engagements. So I was a little bit familiar with the contracts as my sister started pursuing this career. I just started learning about the different paths that you could take to get to, the LPGA or the Epson Tour. So it was very fun. I've caddied for her. I've gone on the road with her. So truly I see it as a privilege to have had work for her and help her get to where she wanted to.
Yeah. Is she playing still?
She's still playing. Yeah, she's doing Monday qualifiers. She has some status on the Epson Tour, but you should definitely check her out, her Instagram and everything that she's done, because she's great. Maybe she can go on your next podcast.
Yeah, for sure. This episode is sponsored by InSport Education, the online business school for sport. Right now, they are offering course recordings on demand for only £199. Private equity in sport, sustainability in sport, or governance in women's sport, take your pick. As always, you get 10% off all courses with the code SPORTSMANAGEMENTPODCAST10. Click the link in the description below to see the complete course list. You have played yourself, you were playing college, and what was your ambition with your golfing playing career? Yeah, let's start there.
Well, you always want to play at the highest level, Marcus. You know, you always want to get out there and win. I'm still not done. So I played at the collegiate. I still have dreams. I'm still working on my swing. You know, I'm like, maybe if I just change this, I could go, I could go on tour. You never stop dreaming. But so I played at the collegiate level, and then I was able to play 4 professional tournaments. 2 of them, it was when I was a junior, and I had the privilege of playing with Tom Watson. He was my partner at what is now the Pure Insurance tournament with the first tee over at Pebble Beach. So I played it 2009, I played it 10, and then I was invited back to play it 2017. And then I actually went and played it again 2021. So it's a great experience, Marcus, when you're out and you're playing with the pros and you have jaw-dropping views of the golf course, and you're out there working on what was your job for so many years, your skill. I mean, that's why I tell people, once you just get a little bit of taste of what golf is like, you fall in love with the sport. It's extremely difficult. It is very difficult. And even, you know, the professional golfers, we all mess up at some point and we all get frustrated. But like I said, I think it's a sport worth trying.
Yeah. I actually don't play myself, but I know that people who do, colleagues of mine, they say that it's such a mental sport. And if you let's start the first 2 holes in a bad way, then it's very difficult, you know, get back to that. So do you feel like you have built like mental strength through your golf career?
Yes. I think in general, just sports, right? I think in sports, I was before golf, I was a dancer in karate. I was in karate, and I think karate really helped me with the concentration aspect. I won the Mexico national championship when I was 11.
Oh yeah,
so watch out! But so I feel like karate gave me concentration. You know, dancing gave me just the joy of, you know, learning how to move your body, and then golf definitely gives you mental strength, and you got to be able to know when to switch it on and when to switch it off, because the difference is that you're out there for it's a very long day, you know, especially when you play in college. We would play Monday, Tuesday, and Mondays we would play 36 holes. So right when you finish 18, you go straight to 1. So it could be, you know, a 10-hour day.
That's why I haven't really picked up golf, to be honest, because I feel like then that whole day goes for golf. You could play 9 holes or whatever. Of course, I know.
You can play 9. Yes.
Yeah,
I mean, this is at the competitive level, right?
Yeah.
But now I just love showing up to the golf course. Sometimes I warm up, sometimes I don't. And now, you know, you just get out there with your buddies and trash talk and make fun of each other. That to me is just as much fun.
So yeah, you talked about the mental aspect of it. What else from your playing career have you benefited from now when you're on the managerial side of the business?
Well, I think the learning how to set goals and reach them, and having that go-getter attitude and being competitive helps you in any job, right? So, I mean, our sales, the team that I'm managing right now, the membership sales directors, we have a lot of athletes. We have a lot of ex-professional baseball. We have people that played professional golfers. And that's actually the people that I'm, you know, targeting to come join us, because they have that athlete mentality. Golf is hard. Life can be hard, but you keep moving forward and you keep improving your craft. And then that's how you can succeed. And actually our company was started by Brian Friedrichs, and he was a professional golfer. And then he recruited Adam, and Adam was a professional golfer as well. So our company has been built with that mentality, and it's a very driven results company. And much like golf, you know, you can't there's not enough room in the scorecard to put excuses and say that you hit a sand and you accidentally hit a golf cart, or it bounced on the cart path and then it bounced and it was out of your control. There's only space for that number. And it's very much how we run our company. It's very results driven.
Talking about your current position now as a VP, how would you describe your leadership style?
My leadership style, I would say that I try to lead by example, being proactive, being reliable. We focus on our objectives because I want to make sure that my team knows that they can count on me, and in return, I can give them guidance, right? I like to play to my strengths, which is communicating and connecting people. And that's exactly what I'm doing now. I am offering opportunity to those who are looking to be in sales, to be compensated, and to work in a golf club and produce results. So that's the leadership style that I think I have. And the greatest bosses that I've had, they've all led by example. They go in there and they do the job, and then they give the direction that the team needs. So that's what I aspire to do as well.
I've known you less than half an hour, but I find you extremely positive. Is that something that you also implement in your work, like the positive attitude? And
I try to be positive. Yes.
Yeah. So I felt like we started talking about Capstone Hospitality and then we moved on pretty fast. But if we talk more about, you said you offer opportunities for, people with sales ambitions and
yes.
So if someone, a listener, is interested, is it a multinational company, like a global one? Is it only in the US? How can they look for jobs, apply?
Yes, thanks for asking. It is only in the United States right now. So what they can do is they can visit our website. They can send me a resume at careers@capstone-hospitality.com. Because we are looking for people. Like I said, if you're somebody who wants to be in sales, who wants to get compensated, who has a go-getter attitude, who wants to work in sports in a golf club, this is the job for you. And I moved from the PGA Tour to here because I believed in the company and the mission and the vision that our team has. So if you're wanting to live in the United States, definitely email me. Quite frankly, I haven't dealt with internationals, but we will find a way. We will find a way to get you guys here. I have a multicultural background as well. I was born in the United States, but I was raised in Mexico. That's why Spanish is my first language. So, there's people here from all kinds, all walks of life.
I think it says something about what you said with the mission of Capstone, that as a golfer, the PGA Tour seems like, the company to work for if you're not playing actively. So for you to take this step to Capstone, you must really believe in what you're doing there.
Yes. It was wonderful to work for the PGA Tour. I had amazing opportunities. But there are other ways to work in sports, right? There's other companies, there's other roles that are outside of the PGA Tour. And for me, it was about the responsibilities that I was going to have in this role, and then the culture fit and what they offered me. And quite frankly, I love our team. They're just motivated and they're focused, and I really wanted to be a part of that.
Fantastic. You have also been a radio correspondent for a Spanish radio show.
Yes.
And you have worked for PGA Tour. You've been an agent for your sister. Now you're working for Capstone Hospitality. Has there been any bumps on the road along the way? And if so, how did you overcome them?
There's always bumps on the road, right? There's always challenges. There's always stress. There were times when I didn't know if I was going to be able to get a sponsorship for Elsa. And, she needed the financial backing so that she could go and play the tournaments. She was trusting me with her career to move her forward. And, with my own career, I've had different positions and they've been a little bit different. They've all connected in some way. And that's why I've been able to move from position to position. But I guess the bump in the road is the time that it takes you to adapt to a new role and learn the role and quickly learn everything so that you're able to contribute to the team and give back and then prove your value. So I would say that that's been a similar theme with all the positions that I've been in. But, there's some people that like after college, they're like, okay, I want to be a doctor and this is what I'm going to do. And this is my path. And I know the steps that I need to take to get there. But for me, I didn't even imagine working in sports, which is crazy to think now because everything that I've done has led me to this point. But I've been just very open-minded, and I knew a couple of things that I knew about myself and what I wanted to do. And that has led me to make the decisions that I've made. But it's just been for me, one opportunity presents the other one. And then, and that's why I take the next step. But I would tell people, if they're wanting to work in sports, to find out what they want to do, there's so much out there, there's so much out there. Like you said, you would think that the organization that you want to work for is the PGA Tour. And I would say, absolutely, right? That is like the pinnacle. That is absolutely. But there are other positions, that might be a better fit because of the work that you're doing or the culture or the location. So, if anybody wants to chat, I'm happy to be here for them because there was a lot of people that were willing to have those conversations with me.
I think that's really important what you said, that you didn't have this clear path, because I think that a lot of young people are struggling, that they don't know exactly what they want to do and they're panicking. I had a similar one. I've always, through my educational path, I've always taken like the one that keeps the most doors open, and I haven't, specialized in anything. And then halfway through my college degree, they opened the sports management degree. And then I just felt like that's what I want to do. And I changed, and that's the way. But I mean, up until that point, I had no idea.
Right. And I think as I gotten older, you really don't know, what's next. I think that when you think you're younger and you grow up, you're going to know all the answers. You don't, people are still, older than us. They don't know what they're doing either. So I think it's fair to say that, I think if you keep an open mind and you're curious and you keep learning, then you also learn about yourself. You learn what you're good at and you learn what you like, and that can help you make the decisions.
Yeah, definitely. You said that if someone wants to reach out to you and ask questions, where do they do that easiest?
I think LinkedIn is probably the easiest for career professional advice. Sara Diaz. And again, if you guys want to get in touch with us with Capstone Hospitality and you're serious about working for us, then careers@capstone-hospitality.com.
Yeah, approaching the end of the interview here, I usually ask if there is something that I haven't asked you yet and that you feel is important to mention.
I'm Sports Business Journal 30 Under 30.
Yes,
was a big
I
award.
forgot to talk about that.
Yes, that was a big award that I got, and I'm very proud of that. So, if you're somebody who hasn't had a clear path and you're not really sure what you're doing or what's next, or you're kind of stuck in between, I say just work hard where you are. Because sometimes too, I think we tend to look too much into the future and we're constantly like, okay, what's next? But it takes time. It takes time to really know what you're doing at the present moment, right? And I think that if you provide value, then the opportunities present themselves. But you can't be looking so much ahead that you're not paying attention to what you're doing right now. So I got that award, and quite frankly, I wasn't even expecting it, but I was in the midst of doing multicultural, and then I was hosting a show. And then I had the opportunity to interview Jay Monahan, our PGA Tour commissioner, with Harold Varner III, a PGA Tour player, for the return to golf, and then also the injustices that were going on in the United States in 2020 with George Floyd. So, the PGA Tour was a wonderful place to work, and really enjoyed my time there. But I'm also excited at Capstone and what we're looking to do here.
I'm sure. So the 30 under 30 award was for that work with during the time with the PGA Tour?
Yes, multicultural efforts, diversifying the PGA Tour's audience. And then I was leading CORE, which was our multicultural employee resource group. And then just the multiple roles that I had at the tour.
That's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
I had that. I forgot to ask about it. I'm glad that you brought it up.
Sure thing.
The last question that I ask everyone is, if you could choose the next guest on this podcast, who do you think that I should talk to?
I think you should talk to my sister. I think you should talk to Elsa Diaz, because you will get the perspective of what it's like to be a professional golfer and really know what that life is like.
Yeah.
All the challenges that she's had to deal, but then also all the great things that she's been exposed to.
I can ask her about her agent also, if she was satisfied. And also, you said before, Usain Bolt's agent. That was also a name that stuck on my mind here. That would be interesting as well, maybe. I'm fishing.
That was a long time ago. I don't know, Marcus. I don't know if I have that pull still. But you should definitely talk to also our VP of partnerships at Capstone Hospitality, because besides having a super important job here, he also came from the PGA Tour, and he's gotten to work on some pretty cool projects and can give the listeners a little bit of a better idea of who Capstone is and what we do.
Awesome. Sara, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the Sports Management Podcast. It's been great.
You're welcome.
So glad we could do it.
Yes, it's very nice to meet you. And I'm sorry about all the reschedules. I'm glad that we finally got to do it.
No problem at all. I'm so happy we found the time. Thank you for listening to the Sports Management Podcast. Please hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on any upcoming episodes. Also, feel free to leave a comment about what you thought about this episode. If you want to get in contact with me, send an email to sportsmpodcast@gmail.com or hit me up on Twitter or Instagram @sportsmpodcast.